Trees like this one can live for literally thousands of years, but this tree has been almost entirely dead the whole time. Not dying or sick, actually dead, because all trees are mostly dead. And that's exactly why they're still standing. Let me explain. A tree trunk is layered like a sushi roll. There are different kinds of tissues from inside to out, but all the width of a tree trunk traces back to here. The only actively dividing cells in a tree trunk are in this one thin layer here on the outside. This layer is less than 1% of a tree's volume, but it does most of the work of growing and keeping a tree alive. Just outside that vascular cambium is a thin layer of tubular cells that send sugars from leaves down to the roots. When you carve your name in a tree, you're actually cutting through some of the only living tissue in the trunk. On the outside of this layer, the cells move outward and turn into bark. And all the outside bark is just dead cells to create a tough, rugged armor against things like fire, pests, and water loss. Things like corks, cinnamon, that's bark. Cells on the inside of that vascular cambium are also destined to die in a really special and carefully programmed way. Cells here make a second cell wall and produce loads of a substance called lignin, which makes the cell wall tougher and tougher. Finally, as they die, they also hollow out. As that thin living layer grows out, these dead cells get squeezed to the middle of the trunk. This is why trees get those age rings. It's also why a spot on a trunk will always be the same height off the ground no matter how tall the tree gets. But without all this carefully programmed death, trees wouldn't be able to grow as tall as they do, chasing all that light for photosynthesis. Remember how those dead cells in the middle are hollow? They basically create a tight-knit bundle of straws that draws water up the tree. It's a tree's plumbing, called sapwood. The cells farthest toward the center, over time, that heartwood doesn't even move water anymore. It's literally just totally dead structural support. And in some trees, the heartwood can be most of the trunk. Something about this adaptation seems strange, until you realize it lets trees focus most of their energy on those cells that are up top doing all the photosynthesis, rather than wasting energy keeping all of that structural support alive. They're kind of like the opposite of us. We have a thin dead layer, our skin, and we're full of living stuff. Trees have a thin living layer, and they're full of dead stuff. Puts a whole new meaning on dead inside. Follow me for more cool science stories.